Welcome back. Thanks for staying with the broadcast. Papa Jab, T Jab, and Maria Set, all names which bring one thing to mind: masquerade. The cultural tradition has deep roots in the historical story of St. Lucia. Looking to document the process involved in bringing these characters to life is a Youth in Arts Theatre Company. Representative for the organization, Louise Victor, says a recent fundraising activity looks to ensure the cultural tradition can be passed down through generations.
This year, the focus will be on documenting the masquerade, one of our dying traditional art forms, one of our dying traditional cultural art forms. We want persons to understand and appreciate why this is happening, and the process of documenting our cultural art forms. We saw how much we lost the last year in the FRC fire, and so all of this is geared towards being able to, with a new consciousness of being able to ensure that we capture some of those, some of what we are for generations to come.
Backed by music, the characters portrayed through masquerade come alive with dance and acting. Victor observes the focus of the documentary will also explore the energetic sound behind the masquerade madness.
That is in the pipeline, because while persons can identify with the sound of the masquerade music, the problem is it's not documented such that it's written in musical notes form. And so you have the different instruments, you have the flute, you have the drums, you have the shak and whatnot. But all of these things need to go for a process of ensuring that it is written so that other generations of musicians could read it, even if they could hear it. So that some of the work in terms of documenting is also part of that. It's not just about documenting the visual and the dance techniques and the idea and story and the history behind masquerade, but having recognized that the music is very vital to its continuity. That is also a top priority for Youth in Arts.
St. Lucian Masquerade is a unique telling of the island's history and has become a commonplace spectacle at cultural events. As the Common Entrance examination draws near, grade 6 students of the Gordon and Walcott Memorial Methodist School received a timely presentation on procrastination and productivity by the National Competitiveness and Productivity Council. This was one of the activities of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank's mentorship program. More in this report from Glenn Simon.
The Gordon and Walcott Memorial Methodist School has been adopted by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, as a mentorship school under its community outreach program. The mentorship program seeks out avenues for the school and ECCB to work collaboratively to improve student performance and confidence. The National Competitiveness and Productivity Council, NCPC, was invited to speak to the grade 6 students of the school on the topic "Procrastination Kills Productivity" as they prepare to write the Common Entrance examination. ECCB's resident representative and country manager in St. Lucia is Sharon Ferdinand.
We have a program in place, but the good thing about it is that you are given the leeway to do what works for you in country. And so in St. Lucia, because of the amount of stuff they have during the term, I found it easier, Ms. Gabriel and I, this was the principal of the school, we found it easier to collaborate and work in areas that she needs assistance. Now, I had seen your program on TV where you had done the procrastination presentation for secondary school. And so I reached out to your unit to ask them if they would like to collaborate.
Communications specialist with the NCPC, Glenn Simon, said raising productivity levels requires the involvement of all stakeholders, with students being a key stakeholder. He added the topic "Procrastination Kills Productivity," though a simple one, has profound implications for one's goals, aspirations, and level of success.
My presentation really focused on how to get them to recognize that they don't put off things so that you could do now for later, and it'll affect them in the future. They could start off together in this place, but they will not end up the same place just because of the level of productivity, the level of discipline, the focus. And so I hope that it made an impact, because what we want to do at the Productivity Council is help increase the productivity levels within the country. And if we could get it by focusing with students who are stakeholders within the society on how they could improve their productivity and how they could improve it by reducing their procrastination, we would love that, because the society on a whole would benefit.
Grade 6 teacher Deanne LaForce noted that the presentation was apt for her students, who she said needed to focus now more than ever, in preparation for the Common Entrance examination.
It's timely because the students, they're just preparing for the exam in the next, a few weeks' time. And I believe that looking at the videos and listening to what you had to say to them this morning, they will realize that procrastination really affects their work. And if they don't begin working now, they will not succeed in the future.
Grade 6 students Lamars Edwin and Destiny Duncan expressed their views on what they gathered from the presentation.
It will help me because now I know that when you procrastinate, you don't do very well at school because you'll always be putting off practice to be better at what you're doing.
Since I've gotten the presentation, I believe that procrastination is not a very good thing, and when you procrastinate, you don't get any work done. So it's a lot harder for you to focus and understand what the teacher is talking about at the time.
The National Competitiveness and Productivity Council was established to identify key issues related to competitiveness and productivity in St. Lucia and provide timely and effective recommendations to policymakers, the private sector, and other stakeholders. For the National Competitiveness and Productivity Council, Glenn Simon reporting.
A giant robot awakens from beneath the twin pitons. This is the premise of a short film entitled The Mighty Grand Piton from the mind of Wesley Lewis. Lewis, whose parents were born in St. Lucia before moving to the UK, explores the intricacies of Caribbean life through vivid animation and storytelling. Solange Alfred tells us more.
Following the adventures of a young British girl named Connie, who is traveling to St. Lucia for holiday with her family, where she accidentally awakens a giant robot buried under the twin pitons. The Mighty Grand Piton trailer gives viewers only a glimpse into the storyline of what looks to be an epic tale. One clip within the trailer shows a battle between the Mighty Grand Piton and what looks to be a giant mosquito at the airport. The bio linked to the animation page reads, quote, "No one knows where he came from or how long he's been there. During the many years he's lain dormant, the Mighty Grand Piton became nothing more than the stuff of legends." End quote. The introduction of the trailer gives the viewer an airful of masquerade music, which is synonymous with St. Lucia's cultural tradition of masquerading. Moving further into the trailer, an original song praising the protagonist of the film can be heard sounding off loudly. Having only released the trailer of the short film, the animators opened a floodgate of comments, likes, and shares under the post. One user, Mr. Three Letters, writes, "This is the most beautiful video I've seen all year. Just blew me away." Another user, XNB Seuss, comments, "The visuals and timing, fire. Looks like an interesting story." Many users asked questions as to the official release of the film. However, the director, Wesley Lewis, was unsure as to a release date for the now highly anticipated showing of the Mighty Grand Piton. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
Thank you, Solange. And finally, the 2019 National Carnival Queen contestants received personal development training and met for the first time their chaperones for this year's pageant. Head chaperone Louise Victor says it's all part of the holistic development that the pageant fosters.
As in any other industry, pageantry does come with a certain level of training and development that is required to be able to produce a show of a certain standard. As such, we have 2 training sessions today. The first, the ladies had an extensive session this morning on a variety of things, from tips and techniques to writing their biographies, appropriate dress codes, attitude to authority, what are the expectations of the show, what are they expecting from the committee, as well as how they would have to meet their contractual obligations as a contestant for this year's pageant. In addition, we have the training and development session for the chaperones. So just as the contestants would have gotten that attention, we believe that it's also equally important to give it to the chaperones, some of which I experienced, but some of which they will be doing this for the very first time.
And we now join the chairman of the National Carnival Queen Pageant, Trevor King, for the announcement of who will be working with this year's contestants.
Who's ready? Who wants to be the first one to know who their chaperone is? Okay, we are going to start. Naomi St. Remy, your chaperone for the 2019 Carnival. Yeah, you really have excitement. It's no other than Miss Karen Davis. Drum roll, ladies and gentlemen. When you have a name, your chaperone is no other than Mr. Keston Jabatis. And Justinian Charles, your chaperone is Leona Sandiford. Larissa Dennis, your chaperone is Cleo Joseph. Okay, so the next contestant is Shirley Anna Lamontagne, who is not there with us. So Tammy will stand in her place. Shirley Anna Lamontagne is from the beautiful volcanic community of Soufrière, and her chaperone is no other than Mr. Ron McGlaw. Oh. Janine Fontenelle, your chaperone is no other than Miss Samantha Gillard. Jacka Wooding. Jacka Wooding, your chaperone is Alicia Ali. So that means Tamika Ditterville, your chaperone is lovely St. Amy Joseph.
Tennis in Glasgow is up next with all the sporting action.